think everybody got a copy of the, he's from MDOT, the gentleman from MDOT who's here. They're getting ready to do some work on I-55. And he brought everybody, I hope that he gave everybody a copy of the plan. Did everybody get a copy of MDOT's plan?
I think I have it in my office, yes.
And I asked him to come to the board to
What
she got to put it on and they said we're not voting anything.
Right, this is just a discussion item.
Okay.
Right, no action is required.
We asked them to come and explain to this board what they're going to try to do. I think they're going to try to widen I-55 and they're trying to put up a noise barrier. And we want to make sure that the public and our supervisors heard from them directly.
Okay.
Hello, Mr. President, board. I have a handout.
Please state your name.
I'm sorry. Chad Wallace, representing the Environmental Division of the Mississippi Department of Transportation. And I have a handout for you as well. Mississippi Department of Transportation has intentions of widening I-55. Study has been taking place from the county line that goes county line all the way to McDowell Road. Widening is intended to be taking place in various projects. Intentions are to first have widening coming from Sowell Road interchange at Byram north to McDowell. Eventually, also to have widening that would take place from Terry Road to Byram. There is one vicinity of the project area in the vicinity of the interchange at Savannah where there would be some noise barriers necessary. A number of, I think in about 3 different locations.
When will the project take place? When will y'all begin and what's the duration of the project?
Those I can't speak of with any assertion definite, but the issue would be as soon as we were able to get through the environmental process, this would go to the next stage of design. This would be done in existing right-of-way. Right-of-way would not be necessary from any other locations. It would be done in our existing through between Byram to McDowell. The intentions to widen to the outside lanes of the existing interstate. The eventual intentions of south of Byram would be widening to the inside.
Okay. Now the sound barriers, in terms of you're going to do all of the widening and the sound barriers together at the same time?
Yeah, the barriers would be located, I think, between the frontage roads and the and trying to direct you to the locations of interest in the handout again. Page 26 is the locations where you would have a noise wall. Page 25 and 26, they are not shown on that depiction there, but I have that in a rollout should you need to see it. There is a manufactured housing location in the vicinity of where the pull-apart business is located. There's on the east side of the interstate, a noise wall would be necessary there potentially. And then there's an apartment complex at the northwest side of the Savannah Street interchange, and also another neighborhood in the southwest where potential noise walls would be necessary. I bring that up to some degree because the noise walls are really contingent upon whether or not the public finds those walls necessary for their well-being. That it is more of a thing, not something that would automatically intend to put, but more so we found public interest was something where they thought it was something they wanted to have in place. That is not always something, we did not want to go into this whole idea of putting up noise walls and assume that folks just naturally wanted it. We put notifications out there on the website and also by door to door on the various locations. There was over 100 plus locations where receptors for the noise walls were placed so that folks who did have an interest in having those were able to put some involvement in and let us know one way or another they thought the noise walls would be necessary for their location.
Thank you. We had bad weather. I know we had a meeting at Lee School, and I don't know if the attendance was bad weather at that time.
Yeah, that was followed up by a public hearing last Thursday on the 13th, and yeah.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
I see these noise barriers all over the United States. As part of your study, has there been contact made with the businesses in those particular areas as to what this noise barrier, now, because they're done to different levels, different lengths, and to different styles and beautification. One that I can think of right off the bat will be the one on the Causeway in New Orleans, near the Causeway. What you're proposing is something along that particular nature, or what?
Well, I can't speak of the nature of what's in the Causeway in New Orleans. However, I can say that this discussion of it, I mean, various issues are involved. I mean, there are some businesses where we thought it was worthwhile. We backed off on the length of the noise walls because being seen from the interstate is more important to some businesses than having protection from noise on the same interstate. So that was one of the things we were trying to do, is make sure those were addressed based on the interests of the properties being impacted. As to the nature of what the walls would look like and how that would take place, that part would be more something we would discuss more so in the design element. To just, if there was something special that the county or the city was found necessary that we wanted to add as an element of aesthetics to that wall, we would address that at that time.
Right, so would this be from 55 coming into the county or coming into the city of Jackson, and your proposal would be north of County Line Road, or just intermittently at different spots?
It would be an intermittent based on the receptors and impacts of what the noise model showed. And for this particular stretch of route that we're studying now, it would be primarily in the vicinity of Savannah. And because there were 3 locations where a wall was being considered as a potential need there.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, guys, and please keep us informed.
All right. Thank you very much. And I also want to let your constituents know that we are still taking up comments based on that public hearing, what was shown. That information is on the website. It's also in a document that I think has been provided to your office as well. And so please put that word out as well, that we are still taking comments based on that public hearing and document involved.
Could you leave a copy? We got one in our clerk's office and one in the county administrator.
And Hinds County would like some of those high priority transportation dollars to come this way.
Yeah, I'm not really able to speak on you.
Okay. Thank you very much for bringing it. Continue, Mr. Stokes.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I want to start with number 1. Discussion of AT&T. Mr. President, I met with these 2 gentlemen, Mr. Godwin and Mr. Bullitt. You'll come forward, please. What we tried to do, Mr. President, is with deregulation, it was told that this company is located in this county, and it's companies throughout this city and state that can do what AT&T is doing. And the issue that we keep speaking of is saving money. And I asked them to come before this board and just let us know what can be done. And reading their presentation, they also show the different cities that they're working with and counties that they're working with. And I asked them to come themselves and just kind of introduce themselves and tell what they can do too.
Good morning. I'm Irving Bullitt, and this is my partner, David Goodwin. Southern Telecommunications has been in business for 20 years, Mr. President. We want to thank you all for this opportunity to have this conversation. We are basically a Mississippi company working currently handling communications for at least 50 counties in the state of Mississippi. And when I say communications, we handle the voice, the data, and the internet, as well as the long-distance communications. I worked with AT&T for 25 years, and most of the people that work with me are retired AT&T people as well. I want to just basically just make these comments. You don't really replace AT&T. You really work with AT&T. AT&T controls the last mile. Things that we're going to talk to you all about this morning is really finding ways to get things done in a more cost-effective manner. We got some information through a public request to really show an average monthly bill, and based on just looking at it without doing any walking around or any really detailed analysis on premises, we saw the capability to save this county over $900,000 in the next 5 years. And that equates to about $15,000 a month, simply by just making an administrative change. We know that you're spending a lot of money. And counties that we worked with before, we're working currently in about 100 cities throughout the state of Mississippi. Counties like Madison County, and Barnes County, and Washington County. And what I want to share with you is why these counties are working with us real quickly. If you would, could you turn to page 6 in this document that I've given you? Here's some of the reasons why counties and cities and clients that work with us. We're going to use the existing infrastructure that you currently use phones on over. The phone calls that are made currently, Mr. President, those calls are going to be made the same way. We're not going to change the way the phone calls are made, nor are we going to change the phone number. There are no changes technically in that process. You're going to still have those calls being made over AT&T like they currently are.
Let me say this before, I know we got other items.
Okay, well, I'll be brief.
Mr. Governor has a grandmother that's over 106.
103, yes, sir.
103, but we can try to go some more years.
Yeah.
Currently lives in Jackson. And when you started this company, can you just kind of explain to this body what you did and how you got involved when you started this company?
Yes, sir. Well, the Telecommunications Reform Act of 1986 allowed for competition in the long-distance business. I started Southern Telecommunications in 1992. We started off as a long-distance company and did that for a number of years. Then there was another 10 years later, there was the Telecommunications Reform Act of 1996, which allowed companies like mine to get into the local telephone business, which was for dial tone, telephone lines like you would have at your house or for your business. We also provide the circuits that make all of the communications data and voice work. And we have been doing that now as a local telephone company since 1998. We have thousands of customers throughout Mississippi. And we have, I think we're at 56 counties of the 82, and as Mr. Bullitt said, over almost 100 cities. What we found is that the customer service has changed with the phone company over the last few years. And so what we are doing is we feel like on the customer service standpoint, we're putting the customer service back in the equation. We don't have long-term agreements. We've heard a lot about contracts and terminations and things like that over the last 30 minutes. All of the customers that we have throughout this state are doing on a handshake. We're going to earn your business every day. And if we don't do what we tell you we're going to do, we expect you to fire us.
Let me suggest this.
Yes, sir.
We had a long meeting. I suggest y'all meet with each supervisor, make an appointment, and just kind of explain what all you could do. And
yes, sir. We would appreciate that opportunity.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Just one question before you go. It deals with, well, I guess we can do this when we meet one-on-one. It deals with the original lines of AT&T phone lines.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for coming, and we appreciate it. I hope you will make an appointment to meet with the county administrator as well and all the supervisors.
Great.
We appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Okay, Mr. Stokes, continue.
I'm trying to bring the people we have as guests, they've been there long, thank you. I'm going to go to number 5, Cemetery in District 5. That's Mr. Randy Wildman Brown to come up. This is a young man who grew up in Washington, D.C., West Jackson community, and he continues to be a leader in that community. And what has happened, Mr. President, it's more than true, but I identified 2 cemeteries. One is right next to Jackson State University on Lynch Street. And the second one, I think, is on Hill. I want to make sure that Hill. And if
that's correct.
Years ago, the cemeteries had owners, and people just walked away from them. And at that point, the city basically just started keeping them cut. They do nothing more than just cut them. And a lot of the headstones are overturned, and the vaults, I think you talk about, I'm not sure you're right or not, bricks are coming loose and out, and you worry about the exposure of caskets and other things because of time. And the children walking in those neighborhoods, it's awful sight. And I don't know, digging, I look everywhere, and I think the closest thing is 1975 until some things we kind of can do. But I hope that we can do something to help with the ugliness that's taking place at some of these cemeteries. Mr. Brown, would you please tell us what you witnessed and introduce yourself, please?
All right, Honorable President, Graham, and the rest of the board members. I'm Randy Adams. Most know me as Randy Wildman Brown. That's my moniker because I am a local disc jockey here in the capital city. Of course, the West Jackson area that we're concerned about and that we're referring to at this particular time, I was born and raised in the area, and over the years I've noticed the perpetual care of the cemeteries, and the 2 in particular that we're referring to is the Mount Olive Cemetery, which is located on John Lynch Street, just below the Masonic Temple, and the Lincoln Cemetery located on Washington Street, right at Lincoln and Washington. Lincoln and Hill Street in the capital city. And I took it upon myself to personally visit both cemeteries just yesterday. Mindful of the fact that I was coming down here to the board and enter a plea for the residents of the area that we could possibly receive some type of perpetual care that would help better the condition of both locations, because, for instance, at the Mount Olive Cemetery on John Lynch Street, I noticed that several graves have sunken in, tombstones are turned over, grass half cut, not properly enclosed, and really it's really disrespectful, because I would hate to think that after I'm buried, wherever that may be, that there's no care for wherever my body is laid to rest. And I realize that they don't normally bury people today in those particular locations, I guess because it's full or whatever the situation may be. However, I noticed some dates dating back as far as 1879, and some probably even greater. However, it's a total disrespect to let these particular locations deteriorate the way that they have been doing. And the Lincoln Cemetery right now at this present time, it has a grave you could walk by, and if I stepped off in it, it'll almost come up to my waist, I believe. It's sunk in just that far. So it's a total disrespect not only to the people who are laid to rest there, but it's also an eyesore to the neighborhood. And the young children growing up, how they supposed to feel? So, well, I guess when I'm gone, they put me in a place like this, and it's not taken care of. So, this is the plea through me from citizens in that particular area to seek some type of assistance this board that we can properly care or get an upgrade for those two locations, because tombstones are turned over and vaults, as Supervisor Stokes said, are falling apart, bricks falling apart. As a matter of fact, people in the neighborhood, they allege that the media was contacted some years back, said even a body fell out of one of the vaults because a tree fell on it. And it was about 2 weeks before anything was done about that. So it's our plea to you all that if there's any way possible, could you assist us in those two locations to try to not only show our respect to those who are resting there, but also to try to eliminate the eyesore that exists in the neighborhood.
Mr. President, could I ask the legal department to ask the Attorney General's opinion as to whether we can aid? I know 19375 they have some legal direction, and maybe we need to do a joint venture with the city. I think the city adopted, because of the private ownership, it never form a cemetery owned by the government. But people walk away after they get full, and I think the city now could, and maybe we can find where we can work with the city as a joint venture to correct that. And what hurt so bad on Hill Street, the drainage has started going through there.
Exactly.
And it's eroding some of the grades. Just a matter of time before. It's a sad thing to think about, people gone with their bodies and all that stuff, going to be uncovered. So I just want to think, we still got ready to walk around for comment and speaking and caring about the community, because, as you say, young people walk and see it and make them feel like nobody cares.
Like no one cares.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, continue, Mr. Stokes.
Mr. President, I asked Ms. Main to come forward, but I don't know if Mr. Joe Walker is here. But we received a letter. Come up, Ms. Main. I don't know who's here. From Mr. Joe Walker, who's the postmaster. And what he said he was going to do, and I let Ms. Main explain, because of this Pine Hill Road situation, they're going to stop delivering mail.
Yes. I don't think anyone, he was supposed to send someone, but anyway, to the board. He said that on Pine Hill Road, because of the condition of Pine Hill Road, there's a possibility they will have to discontinue mail service to those residents because of the condition of that road. They cannot continue going off in there, putting themselves in danger and also causing the road to get worse. So they are considering that.
And I know, Mr. Fregus, we had some decisions about the school crossing thing, and I know it under 19342, it's certain things that got to happen. I think school board can tell us something and other things before we can do it in conjunction with the school. But in general, could you contact Mr. Joe Walker, who's the postmaster, find out what we can do and create some kind of win-win, what needs to be done on the county's part and everything else with it.
Certainly.
And we'll try to get you a copy of the letter. Ms. Mangan should have it together. We'll get you a copy of it.
Okay. Ms. Gallagher.
Even though Mr. Walker has indicated that the post office may discontinue the delivery of mail on the road, the post office would have to make some type of arrangements or provide. They would make some type of provisions for getting the mail to the residents. Whether or not that would be to have the residents establish a mailbox at the beginning of the road, I don't know. But I just don't see the post office saying, you're not going to deliver your mail.
That's not what I said, though. They said they were considering it, not delivering mail to there because of the condition of the road. It's a consideration right now. They didn't say, well, they didn't tell me that.
Even if they're considering not physically driving down the road, the post office would have to make some provisions to assure that the residents would get their mail. And again, that could possibly be establishing mailboxes at the front of the road, at the beginning of the road. I don't know what they would do, but I don't see them not getting the mail to the residents at all. Just cutting them off completely.
Okay.
No, but they didn't say they were going to cut them off completely. They were considering that. And I know in Jackson that has happened due to a dog bite. They do provide a way of doing it, but they just letting us know at this point the consideration is under consideration by the post office.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Stokes,
Mr.
continue.
President, I don't know if anybody made it from Hinds County Human Resources. They did not. We're hoping, but we were going to let them speak about their banquet and try to get some advice early on about the cold weather that's coming soon. Actually, how people can apply to have help. And we're going to ask them also about funeral assistance because we get more calls. People trying to bury people, family members and everybody else, loved ones, and there's no assistance out there. So I'm going to hold that one. And we were going to ask someone to come, the health department, I think this man was coming to speak about AIDS, because it's mentioned they want us to wait till next meeting.
Yeah, they have to get a corporate approval for that expert.
And because it's rumored, Mr. President, and they say it's in the Center for Disease Control, that this community is number 3 in the country. And, you know, and Rev is shaking his head, and I asked him where the information is found, and we're going to try to get someone to come speak to us, because we're number 3 in the country with AIDS, but our population, I don't know the percentage or how, but we need to be looking at trying to do some things. So we'll hold that one.
Okay.
And I asked Speaker to, because I got on that victim witness fund, where we can find out how that works, the victim witness fund, to try to find out as well as their help with rewards for different activities, different crimes and everything. So we'll hold these items, Mr. President, until the next meeting so we can move the agenda.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll now continue with the county administrator, Mrs. Carmen Davis.
Thank you, Mr. President. The first item on the county administrator is related to unclaimed bodies. There is one unclaimed body for your consideration today.
Okay, what's the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor of?
Yes.
Opposed to? Motion passes. Okay.
Next item on the agenda is from Mr. Dan Gibson, Risk Management Consultant, with 3 items for your consideration.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Gibson, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you, Mr. President?
Good.
Members of the board, good morning. Good to see you this morning. We have several items for your review this morning. The first item is the renewal of the county's auto insurance and general liability insurance. For a number of years, we have had this coverage placed through Zurich, North America. Zurich insures a very large number of counties in Mississippi. They've done a very good job for us. Their claims handling capabilities are very good. Their responsiveness to us and the fairness in which they handle claims is one of the things I like most about Zurich. They have also been very competitive. As you'll remember, over the last few years we've been shopping this, putting pressure on the company in today's market. And last year they actually came down significantly to $290,000 in their premium. This compares to a premium we were paying just 9 years ago of $681,000. And so we have really saved a lot over the years on this auto insurance. And I'm happy to report that they have offered the county this year a virtually flat renewal. And this means that we will be right within our budget on what we have budgeted for auto insurance this coming year. We're looking at $290,819. And we will be insuring here, we will be insuring 352 vehicles, 150. Yes.
So moved.
Okay. All right. It's been moved. It's been moved and seconded already. All right. Doing good this morning. All those in favor of?
Yes.
Opposed to? Motion passes. Greta, would you read that for me, please?
Resolved to approve renewing the automobile
America.
Okay, thank you very
Quick
much.
question, Dan, is did we do a recent inventory on all the county automobiles?
Yes, we did.
Automobiles to come up with 350?
Every year we do a very careful inventory and we come up with a new schedule. We send that to the company along with a list of all the county drivers. We also need a motion to establish who the agent is. The agent on this policy has been over the years Mr. Matt Thomas with Statewide. Mr. Thomas is here.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor of?
Yes.
Opposed to? Motion passes. Okay?
All right. Thank you. The next item is the renewal of our volunteer fire department vehicle and equipment coverage. A few years ago, during a shopping process, we found that there's a company that does this.
All right. It's been moved. Is there a second? Second. It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor of?
I do have a question here now.
Yes, sir.
What is the amount?
The amount is $68,767, representing a decrease of almost $11,000 from last year's premium.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All those in favor of?
Yes.
Okay. Opposed to? Motion passes. I guess what we're trying to say, Mr. Gibson, we appreciate your hard work, and we know you do a great job.
Thank you, Mr. Gray. I want to thank Mr. Billy Horn, who is with VFIS. It is a direct placement company that insures the vast majority of counties in Mississippi, and I know he's back there with Roz and Joey, and I know they have a very good working relationship. We appreciate you, Mr. Horn. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The third item that I have for you is the renewal.
Agent.
Oh, there is no agent. It is a direct placement company. They do not work through agents in Mississippi.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Right.
Or I believe
We're a representative for VFIS for the state.
on a direct placement basis there.
Correct.
You're the exclusive agent for Mississippi?
Correct.
Okay. So there is no agent.
Okay. All right. Continue.
All right. Well, there is an agent. But you're the exclusive agent for the
That's
company.
Wellington, right?
Wellington. That's right.
Let me see if I can get that back in.
I remember a few years ago we went through that and we found that VFIS worked with no other agents in the state.
Okay.
And Ms. Lovell is keeping me on top of it today, along with Supervisor Stokes. I'm going to beat my record for number of words spoken in a Hinds County Supervisors meeting today. The third item I have for you is the renewal of our employees group life policy. We have been for a number of years with American General. They have provided excellent coverage to our employees. We are looking at, unfortunately, our first increase since 2004 on this policy, and it is a small increase of 0.018 cents per thousand. The increase is as a result of our loss ratio reaching 98%. The company just felt that they needed to increase the premium. I'm presenting that renewal for you this morning.
What is that equal to in dollars?
It could be anywhere, depending on our census, $300-400 a month. The overall premium on this is usually in the $7,000 to $8,000 a month range. So we would say this would represent anywhere from a 5 to 7% increase.
Okay. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor of? Opposed to? Motion passes.
In a separate motion, you would need to establish who the agent is. The agent on this policy for a number of years has been Mr. Matt Thomas with Statewide.
Okay. What's the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor of? Opposed to? Motion passes.
Dan, I'd like to meet with you, Mr. Thomas, sometime, please.
Anytime, Mr.
And,
Fisher.
Information I'm looking for is just how much do we pay Mr. Thomas every
Yes.
year? And also, if I could, a history on the health insurance, which I don't think it involves Mr. Thomas, but just you, kind of a history of where we are and where you think we're going, because that renews in
November 1st.
November. So we're going to start talking that next
And
month.
Mr. Fisher, in fact, we have had some meetings and discussions. we had just requested information from the county for Gulf Guarantee. Gulf Guarantee, who does our inmate medical plan, is wanting to do a self-funded proposal on health. And I believe we need that information this week for Gulf Guarantee. Ms. Parker, I think you have the list. And then we are still waiting on loss information from the carrier on that. Mr. Fisher, I will call your office this afternoon and we'll set up a meeting.
Okay, thank you.
And to add to that, I think Gulf Guarantee is going to give us both options,
Okay.
self-insured and fully insured. That was my understanding.
I don't think they don't. Gulf Guarantee is a third-party administrator with providing reinsurance. Their proposal will include reinsurance, and it will tell us exactly what the maximum risk to the county is on a self-funded proposal in dollar amount.
Okay. All
Thank you.
right.
Clear that up for me.
Okay, Mrs. Calhoun.
No, go ahead. I'm going to say something.
Okay. All right.
But before I leave, I do want to mention this. I talked to Mr. Thomas just this morning about the fact that this company was increasing the life insurance premium. We had been trying to shop and had not been able to find another quote as good, but we're going to continue shopping it. And if we can find another quote comparable to a American General, we're going to bring that to the board.
Okay.
Just a quick update. In the time since we voted on the Quality Choice Correctional Healthcare contract for the detention center and for Hinds County Inmate Medical Services, I'm happy to report that they have worked tirelessly to make this transition a success. We have had quite a few meetings, and I'm very pleased with the progress we've made and the cost savings potential that we have for the county going into this next year.
Okay, thank you very much. We really appreciate that. And as you leave, I will tell you that I hope that we're making our number one priority is reducing the deductible this year for the health insurance. Okay. All right, Ms. Gallo, did you want to make a statement?
Mr. President, I'm glad I asked for this mileage report because I don't know, I'm not picking on any particular employee, but there is one employee on here I would like to know where he is traveling or she. And I'm not going to call that. I'll shake your hand later. I've got concern. There is one employee on here, and it says mileage for, let me go to the next page. He says, mileage. Mileage for September 23rd through October the 21st, $1,278.
Miles.
Huh?
1,278 miles?
No, dollars.
Now, that's human services, and that's probably for the month, for the human services worker visiting all of
That is the department.
That is the Department of Human Services.
Okay, I want individual employees, and if it's a department, because again, you got 1,000.
That is that one person, Jay Powell, that one person traveling in that department.
All across the state, or where is he traveling?
We will pull her. We have pulled her before.
Right.
She does travel like all during the week.
She's a caseworker
She
with
might
Human
have
Services.
traveled
You
out of
might
the
as well
state.
buy her 10 cars, because another one, 1,053.
That's her. Yeah, we do.
And then another one for $673. We need to evaluate this travel mileage report. I mean, you paying an individual that amount of money, I don't care where they're traveling, you can buy them 10 cars for that amount. You got one for $657, the same person, $775. And this is just within a month's time. Another one for $431, another one for $1,570 from April 5th through the 25th.
Supervisor Calhoun, if I can mention, this was a concern also brought up by Supervisor Stokes earlier in the year, and with that concern, we did meet with the representative of Human Services to address the concern that was raised, and even we tried to address it in the budget as relates to providing a car because we felt it was less expensive to provide a vehicle as opposed to the mileage reimbursement. As a result of the discussion with the manager of the caseworkers for human services, she felt that she was going to put some strong restrictions on the caseworkers and their driving schedule, and she felt it should be managed better. And I told her, though, that we will still be monitoring very closely to see if that has reduced.
Let me ask a question as it relates.
Oh, I understand.
Go ahead.
I agree.
Let me ask a question as it relates to that. Was that put in the budget to buy those individuals a vehicle and it
Yes,
was
sir.
cut out?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
No, but it was not cut out by the supervisors cutting it out.
Right.
We had it in initially and removed it based on the discussion with the human services manager.
Okay. Well, you might want to reconsider and see if there's something that it might, like Supervisor Calhoun stated, it might be more advantageous to purchase a vehicle as opposed to paying this because that might be able to save us a little bit more money.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
We have even employees under board supervisors with assisted mileage. I'd like to know where they're going and what they're doing.
Okay.
$349 and $130, and there's a small amount.
Supervisor, we can detail the information if you like.
Yes,
If
it
you
needs
want
to
me to
be.
detail everyone, or if you want to highlight those and then I'll provide it.
We need to just take and just look at the mileage period.
Yes, ma'am.
And if we have to put more cars in the carpool, then it would be more economically feasible for us to do so, because this report is ridiculous. I don't have the total dollars from this report, but it's just no way that we should be paying that amount of money.
All right.
Mr. President, I got distracted and I failed to make my motion in regards to establishing accountability for the youth detention center. And my motion would be, as stated earlier, to request the county administrator to provide us with a weekly report of the activities at the center to correct all deficiencies, a checklist and timeline of all deficiencies cited, and when the program training has been implemented. Likewise, to look at the number of temps that we have, because we need permanent employees, and that is my motion.
Okay. It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor of?
Aye.
Opposed to? Motion passes. Okay. Well, would the clerk please read that order?
Oh, boy.
I know we want to make sure we get it
Yes, I
on the
know
record.
she read all that earlier, so.
Okay.
She had previously asked that the county administrator provide the board each week with corrective actions being taken and provide a checklist and timelines for the deficiencies and the actions taken to correct each task. And you've added on there,
To look at it.
Checklist.
look at the temporary employees, number of temporary employees.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Implemented training programs.
Right, see the
I'm sorry, what
checklist?
was that last part?
Implemented training programs.
And implementing training.
Right, I got it all there.
Okay.
I did.
Thank you very much.
But what I was looking at, where was this mileage list?
Ms. Davis, continue.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. Yes,
he did.
5-0. Next item is from personnel. However, there are no personnel matters for the board today. Item D, the county administrator requests approval to attend the Mississippi Association of Supervisors 2012 County Government Workshop on October 8th through the 10th in Tupelo, Mississippi, traveling by county vehicle.
Okay. It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor of?
Yes.
Opposed to? Motion passes. Okay.
Is that just for the county administrator?
This,
Yes.
I know others may,
I have it under
He has it under-
so.
Yeah, you gotta bring it
What
up.
about board members?
I have to be there, but I just didn't,
Do you want me to include, originally the way I drafted this was to approve travel for board members and the county administrator to attend. Do you want to leave it like that? Is that okay with
yeah,
your?
because I don't think we need approval if we travel within the state.
That's correct.
Okay, all right.
The same thing, you know, add Mr. Freeman is on there too, so he's
Right.
going the same place, don't you?
Right.
If you want to
Maybe I
add,
could
you
all
want
ride
to
the
add
same car.
this
Yes, we had Mr. Felix in there. All in favor of? Opposed to? Motion passes. Thank you very much.
Clarification.
Mr. Fisher?
Handed us this information on mileage from January. What is the time frame on this?
It's from the beginning of this year through,
So from October, this is FY12.
right.
And it shows a grand total of $46,039.70 paid to employees for mileage on their
No,
cars.
this is just the board of supervisors and county administrative people.
It's no telling what's this like for other departments. I think we should look at it, see.
Yeah, we can look at this. I didn't realize it got up to 46,000. This would be
Not just
everybody.
now, this is workshops and
Right, training.
it's training, travel, it's just travel, it's just travel.
Trying to do a lot of training, seems like. But I think we need to look at this whole figure. It's just one.
In all
Human
the
services is a
departments.
larger part of it.
You can do all this for
Human services, the caseworkers out of
you can also get this for the sheriff, for tax assessor. Let's just look at the whole package.
Okay, I
All
have
departments.
all the parts. I just pulled this one.
Thank you.
I can't sign all.
And when these employees state that they're going somewhere, they need to put I know they're putting the mileage, but they need to put the location. Do they, for example, they go into the place?
They do on the form for approval. They do.
Okay. Are we?
And they're pre-approved. I'm sorry, Mr. President.
Okay, good.
But
I was
this is
going to say
ridiculous.
that travel before they go is pre-approved.
Yeah, this is what I'm looking here. It's ridiculous.
Okay. All right, let's get back to the agenda. Mrs. Davis, continue.
Okay, we have next Mr. Clarence Williams, Human Capital Development, for 2 items for your consideration.
Okay.
Do we have nothing on the personnel?
Nothing on the personnel, yes.
Or after wherever it is, it's close.
Good morning.
This morning. Good morning.
Mr. President, good morning, members again. I have 2 items, both on behalf of the Sheriff's Department. The first is a resolution authorizing the approval of an agreement with the State of Mississippi Department of Public Safety, Division of Public Safety Planning, and authorization to apply for a $179,700 410 alcohol drug countermeasure grant. There is no match requirement.
Okay, it's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor of?
Yes.
Opposed to? Motion passes.
Second is a resolution authorizing the approval of an agreement with the State of Mississippi Department of Public Safety, Division of Public Safety Planning, and authorization to proceed with the 410 alcohol drug countermeasures grant. There is no match requirement.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor of?
Yes.
Opposed to? Motion passes.
Where did those
Sheriff's Department.
application originate from?
Sheriff's Department.
Okay.
We've got Captain Development Department.
This was a continuing grant. Okay.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Davis, continue.
Next, we have on our list purchasing clerk. However, there are no items under purchasing clerk, as well as the budget and finance coordinator.
Okay.
There are no emergency purchases to report, and there are 2 minute insertions. However, no action is required by the board.
Thank you very much. We'll now go to the board attorney, Mrs. Crystal Martin.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. President and board members. I have several items for your consideration. The first is a lease agreement with Beach Luckett Ross Real Estate for the 499 building. The And that's the building that now incorporates the public defender's office as well as the narcotics unit of the sheriff's department. And it is time for renewal of that lease at a rate. The rate being requested is $10,000 per month, which is the current rate, and for a period of October, 3 years essentially, from October 2012 through September 2015.
What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Question from Mr. Stokes.
Why 3 years? Why not year to year? Because I can't see us staying there, paying $10,000 a month for 3 years.
I'm going to refer to the county administrator.
Thank you. I had negotiated with the with the owners of the property, and it was mainly a negotiation issue. They wanted to increase our rent about $2,500 a month, and so that was one of our negotiation situations. The previous or our current lease is for 2 years, and so we extended it 1 more year.
Do we have we just extended it 1 more year?
No, it's just for 3 years. I'm just saying the previous one, it was a 2-year lease.
Is there an exit clause? Exit clause?
No exit clause, other than using it through the typical, lease.
Now, it was broken into some time back.
Not too long ago.
Okay. What did the landlord do to make sure that problem will not maybe occur again? Maybe security guard? Did they pay for?
They paid for all the repairs very quickly. I'm not sure. There's been no discussion about providing security for the facility, but they have been very expeditious in making repairs or improvements to the facility. Also, what it is also is in this agreement is that they will replace the carpet in the facility within the year.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second. All those in favor of?
Aye.
Opposed to?
No.
Motion passes. Okay, continue, Mrs. Warren.
Thank you. The next item I have for the board's consideration is a series of contracts that I presented during the last board meeting for misdemeanor drug court on behalf of Judge Sutton. In that meeting, I communicated that all of the contracts were for $750. I need to correct that statement. There are still 5 contracts, but each one has different amounts. There's a request to enter a contract with Kenneth Hoskins for $750. Jonathan Lewis for a payment of $750. Stephen Green for $1,000. Sheila Green, $1,000. And Justin Hefner, $1,500. And still all of the funds to come from the misdemeanor drug court.
Okay. It's been moved. Is there a second? It's been moved and properly second. Discussion, Mr. Fisher.
Why are the amounts different?
I don't know. That would be a question that we'd have to ask Judge Sutton.
Does the judge here?
Mr. Anderson.
I'm sorry.
Is the judge here?
No. No, sir.
So we don't know why one guy's getting $1,500 and another one's getting $750.
I do not know that the contracts are essentially identical.
They are identical contracts?
Except for dollar amounts and names.
Okay. All those in favor of?
Yes.
Opposed to?
No.
Motion passes.
The last. I'm sorry.
Mr. Stokes.
Thank you, Mr. President. I voted for this item because I think the drill code is that important. But the concern that the supervisor brought up is one that I witnessed with this board is that people would have items on the agenda but won't come so we can ask them questions. And sometimes you wouldn't mind going in favor of something, but you need that comfort zone. So could we, as people, need to have items come forward that they would at least show up, even if we have one or don't have one, they would at least be prepared for it just in case it's a question.
Yes, sir.
I can answer that and help out with that, Mr. Stokes, as well. We can pass over that item if they're not here. We don't have to bring it up. I do agree with you. I think that if you're going to place something on the agenda, a representative or someone should be here in order if one of the supervisors have a question. So they may not want to stay here all the time, but he's an elected official and we take him right up front. So, we can work on doing something for that, and I'll work with the county administrator administrator before I sign the agenda to make sure that at least a representative or someone's going to be here, or we'll know who's going to be or not going to be here.
You should keep in mind too that as long as this board approves it without them being here, there's no reason for them to show up regardless of what you ask them.
Well, that's also a very good point. Yeah. Then we may have to consider some points not approving it. That's.
And I would like to say with respect to Judge Sutton, it was noted that there was no requirement for him to be here. And if he had known or realized the supervisors would have questions, I'm sure he would have had no problem.
How many court clerks do we have?
I'm sorry?
How many court clerks do we have?
I don't know.
Tell them to send one of those.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sure. The resolution to pay them more money sure shows up on a regular basis. They can show up and explain, especially the differences in the pricing. It's just not logical.
Okay. Thank you. Continue, please.
The last items I have are minute insertions which require no action on your part.
Okay. No executive session?
No executive session.
Thank you. All right. Thank you very much. We'll continue with Mr. Joey Perkins, interim EOC director.
Good morning.
Good morning.
First item, request approval to pay overtime to emergency management personnel as well as 2 employees under the county administrator for overtime expenses related to Hurricane Isaac. The county was declared under the federal declaration and will be reimbursed for it. It is within the current budget.
Can we have public works to that, please? Also.
Yeah, there was that bonus under there. Yeah.
Is it within your budget?
Certainly.
How much is it? The low budget.
We'll still calculate.
Emergency management total is 143 hours, and it's about $3,600.
Okay. What's the pleasure of the board? It's been moved. Is there a second? It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor of?
Yes.
Opposed to? Motion passes. Continue, please.
Okay. Request designation of applicant agent for FEMA Disaster 4081 in reference to Hurricane Isaac.
So moved.
Okay. We have to make a designation.
You have to name the person in the minutes. You do, don't you?
Yes.
Okay. And I believe that the form is that you'll put Joseph Perkins.
Joseph Perkins on there. It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor of?
Yes.
Opposed to? Motion passes.
And also they did, just as a note, the Disaster Recovery Center has opened at Golden Key Community Center on Albemarle Road. They should be open from 7 in the morning to 7 in the evening, 7 days a week.
How long is it going to be until they meet with every person that comes in?
Yes, sir. There's also, they can go to the website, disasterassistance.org, I believe, and there's also a phone number. But that's a way for them to get face-to-face interaction for them.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we will now continue with the Public Works Director, Mr. Carl Perkins.
Mr. President, may I make an announcement as he comes up?
Yes.
Since the time that the tax collector came before the board and requested the second tax sale, I have found the authority for sales, and it's under 27415965, and you must follow the original advertising provisions of 274155. And I would like to add that to
The record. Okay.
Thank
you very much. Mr. Fritz, good morning. Close afternoon. Go ahead.
Good morning, Mr. President and other board members. First item I have is a request approval. Well, they addressed it already, correct?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Second item I have is request approval to advertise and hire a crew leader and a replacement if an existing staff member is promoted into the position effective September 17, 2012. The position is in the current budget.
So moved. It's been moved. Is there a second? It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor of? Opposed to? Motion passes. Okay.
Third and last item I have is request approval to publish notice to conduct a public hearing to attempt to amend the Hinds County Local Solid Waste Management Plan to include a proposed land application project in Hinds County from the City of Jackson. And additionally, I published notice in the Clarion Ledger and the Jackson Advocate.
So moved. Okay, it's been moved. Is there a second? It's It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor of?
Yes.
Opposed to? Motion passes.
Thank you.
All right. We will continue with the Honorable Miss Eddie Jean Carr, Chancery Clerk of Hinds County.
That was going awful fast on me today.
The closer it gets to lunch, the faster we go.
Hey.
We will pass, good morning again, members of the board. Mr. President, we will pass over item number 1. We have no 16th section leases this morning. We do have orders canceling tax sale, authorizing refund, reassessment changes to the assessment roll, and surrender tax for your approval.
What's the pleasure of the board? It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor of?
Aye.
Opposed to? Motion passes.
Thank you very much. We also request approval to advertise in the Clarion Ledger the synopsis of solid waste revenues and expenditure for the year ending September 30, 2012, pursuant to Mississippi Code 1717-348.
And Jackson Avenue, Mr. President.
Okay.
You want both papers?
Yes.
Please.
Okay.
Okay.
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor of?
Yes.
Opposed to? Motion passes.
Thank you very much. We also request to advertise the resolution adopting the tax levy for fiscal year 2012-2013, and that will be only in the Jackson Applicant.
Okay. What's the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
I have a question.
It's a question.
Why is that only in the Jackson Advocate? And in your discussion, the one above was only in the Clarion Ledger.
1717-348 requires that if there is a paper in the county that is published 5 days a week, this advertisement for the synopsis of solid waste revenues and expenditures must be in the paper that has 5-day circulation.
So that's set, so that one was set by statute.
Correct.
Okay.
Whereas the tax levy does not require that it be in paper 5-day
Okay.
rotation.
Okay. Continue, please.
Did you carry that? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay. We have needed insertions.
Yeah.
So moved. I do. So moved.
All right. It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's moved and properly second. All those in favor of?
Yes.
Opposed to? Motion passes.
Thank you very much. We have minute insertions as listed on your agenda. No action is required on your part.
Okay. If you just go ahead and give me that when we read, I just want to bring it one more time in front of the board, whether or not anyone wants to reconsider their vote on the paying of the bill to AT&T. What is the pleasure of the board on reconsideration of paying the bill to AT&T?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor of?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes.
Whoa.
Opposed.
Opposed to? I'm sorry.
No.
One no. Motion passes. Now we'll need a motion to pay the bill to AT&T.
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second? It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor of? Oh, excuse me. Discussion.
This is claim number 6333.
Okay.
Before we vote, AT&T has pretty much ignored the county's request, it would seem to me, to bring us the lines, a list of the lines, so we can find out which ones are not being used. They drug their feet on repaying us money they already owe us. The only leverage you have is to hold their money. And if you don't hold their money, then it gets to the other issue we were talking about with the judge. If you're going to pass it without him showing up, why should he come? If we're going to vote for it, pay them their money, why should we expect them to give them to us the information that we have been seeking for a long, long time? I don't mean months, I mean years we've been asking for this information.
Okay.
Mr. President,
Good, Ms. Callen.
I think the matter was simply resolved by sending a letter to Mr. Flynn.
I talked with him and a week or so ago, and he will be happy to get someone to come in front of this board and to discuss the issue. And I think that we can send a letter to him advising him about the concerns of all the supervisors.
Mr. Who, Mr. President?
Mr. Flynn. He's the president of AT&T. Flynn. Yes. And we'll make sure that he gets that letter, and we'll see if that will make any difference. I don't know of anyone. I do know that they are working on these lines because I received a call from Mr. Michelle Turner, who did advise me that there have been 4 lines that have been found and that they're working on making sure that the county knows about those 4 lines. Mr. Bright, I don't know if you got anything on that or not, but it's 4 lines from AT&T that they're going to disconnect, and they're supposed to be sending the county administrator a letter.
This is about the one I offer, so
Okay, Mr. Fisher?
Well, I'll just point out, we had asked AT&T, we had, a motion was passed a few years ago requesting that we do a complete review of all of our phone lines. This board, or the previous board, in its wisdom, decided to let AT&T do it. So Fox went in the hen house and came back and said, hey, no problem, nothing wrong. Now we've got a company knocking on the door trying to get our business.
I don't recall believing telling us that.
Now we've got a company knocking on the door to get our business, and all of a sudden the president of AT&T is going to show up with 4 lines they're going to turn back. What a deal. At this rate, in the next 30 years, we may actually get it down to what it's supposed to be. I'll tell you again, if you pay them their money, they're not going to work with you because there's no incentive for them to do so.
Okay.
Well, we have the option to do that one.
Well, if you don't, well, you won't do it.
All right. All those in favor of?
Yes.
Opposed to?
No.
Motion passes. Would you just, well, that's just part of the claim, so the claim passes. All
Wait a
right.
minute, and you have to approve the claims order. An additional claims order for just this claim.
Okay. It's been moved. Is there a second?
Which claim?
Just a claims order for this minutes of the Board of Supervisors for this claim, to reconsider and then the passing of the claim.
Okay. It's been moved. Is there a second? I'll second. It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor of?
Yes.
Opposed to?
No.
Motion passes. I'd like to announce that on September 27th, special meeting and final closeout of the Hinds County Board of Supervisors. That's just a special meeting and closeout for the year. October 1st, regular meeting of the Hinds County Board of Supervisors at 9 a.m. October the 11th, work session scheduled for the Hinds County Board of Supervisors, and the next special meeting is scheduled for October 15th, 2012 here at 9 a.m. in the boardroom. Any additional special recess or other meetings may be held by posting minute entries or by other means as allowed by law. I'll now entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Supervisors, please don't leave. I need you to sign my claims copy.
All right. Need a second. Second has been moved. A proper second. All in favor of? Opposed to? The meeting is now adjourned at 12:01.
Good design.
I definitely would not stop you from going lunch.